Alright, so Activ8 VST is out today, so you can go ahead and grab the demo and take it for a spin, or you can purchase it from today if you like. So I'm going to show you a few of the main features of Activ8, and I'm also going to show you how to make your own presets from scratch and be able to save them as presets or full sound banks that you can share with your friends or even sell if you want. So when you first load up Activ8, you're going to have all of these presets in the list here, and these are presets created by me and other people on the team. So you can have a flick through these just by scrolling up and down and selecting one. If you've got a MIDI keyboard, you'll be able to test it out on there, or you can just drop a MIDI onto the piano roll. So as I say, you can just scroll up and down and select one. Or if you've put your mouse over this window, you can use the up and down keyboard keys. Okay, so these are all the presets in the rewired bank, but you can also go into the other banks just by clicking one, and then you'll get a whole new set of presets in the list. And there's another two banks at the bottom here. So there's a really nice range of sounds in the built-in presets, ranging from really hard stuff like hard style and big trance leads, down to more like acoustic and natural sounding stuff like guitars and bells and plucks and voices. So I'm sure you'll have good fun flicking through these and seeing how you can fit them into your track. But we're going to move on, and I'm going to show you how to make your own sounds from scratch and be able to save them. So if we go up to the file menu at the top here and we click clear bank, this is going to give us a totally empty bank here, and each preset is just going to be the default, which is a saw wave with no effects or modulations, apart from that the cutoff is on modulation envelope 1, and I'll show you what that does in a second. So that's just the basic saw wave like you would expect in other VSTs like Silent and Spire and Serum and things like that. So this is just your blank canvas where you would start when you want to make your own sounds. So I'm just going to turn the volume up a bit so it's a little bit louder for you. Okay. So as I was saying, the cutoff is already linked to modulation envelope 1, and I've done that because this is something that I use a lot, and I think you probably will too. So it just saves you having to set that up every time. So by default, the cutoff is already up the top here. But if you turn this down, you're going to get like a pluck kind of sound. And if you drop your oscillator down an octave or two, this is going to be good for basses. Okay, so that's that bit anyway. So I'm going to set this back to 0, and I'm going to show you the main bits in the oscillator. When you're starting a sound, you're probably going to start with the oscillators because they're what make the sound, and then after that you'll modulate it and add other effects and things. Okay, so we've got two oscillators, and by default only the first one is enabled, and you can tell that by the number of voices here and the volume knob. So this one's got one voice, and oscillator 2 has got no voices, and the volume is down. So I'll just explain what the voices do quickly. So we can have up to 8 voices, or we can go down to 0 to turn it off. One voice is just going to be a single wave. In this case, this is a saw wave. If you have 2, then you're going to get 2 saw waves, and if you go up to 8, then you're going to have 8 saw waves. So if you have 2, the main thing that's going to affect this is the detune. So when detune is 0, you've got 2 identical saw waves, and when you put the detune up, then one of the saws is going to get pitched up a bit and the other one will get pitched down a bit, which spreads them out and gives you that detune effect. So I'll start with the detune at 0 and then raise it up so you can hear what it does. But as I say, we can go higher in the voices up to 8 if we want, so I'll go all the way up to 8 and then we'll see what that sounds like. So there's a little bit of a clicking sound, and that is because when you've got multiple voices, they stack on top of each other and that creates that popping sound. So to fix that, we need to turn off re-trigger here. And you should be able to hear that that clicking sound is now gone. And we can also fix this a bit more by turning the random phase all the way up. So that means that each wave is going to start at a slightly different point in the wave, so that stops them from stacking on top of each other. Okay, so then we've got the detune, so we can start low down. Gives you quite a smooth sound. And as you go higher up, you're going to get a more detuned, kind of screechy sort of sound. And we can control the octave over here. Okay. And then before I do anything else, I'm going to go to the effects and turn the delay and reverb on, because I think that makes such a huge difference and it makes the sound much nicer and bigger. So I'm going to turn the delay up to about 26 maybe, and about the same with the reverb, somewhere in the 20s is about good. So already we're getting quite a nice lead there. So I'm just going to play with the detune a little bit more. I don't know if I want it higher or lower, depends what sort of track you're making. Somewhere around there I think it's quite good. So now I'm going to go back to this cut-off knob and show you the difference that's made now that we've changed some of the oscillator settings. So if we compare that to just one oscillator, so we get a much thicker sound, and it's like a really nice trance pluck now. So we can take this further and we could add on the other oscillator if we wanted. So I could set this up to 8 voices. I'm going to do exactly the same actually. Set this to 8 voices. I'll set the detune to a similar amount. But this time, I think to make it wider, I'm going to pan this one down a bit and this one the other way. So this one's going to be more coming out of the left speaker and that one more out of the right speaker. And as well, the fine knob here is going to fine tune the pitch. So I can turn the pitch down a little bit on this one and a little bit up on this one. And I'll need to turn the volume up so we can hear it. Turn the cut-off back up so we get the full sound without any filter. So I'll just reset that so we can hear what it was like before. So what I'm going to do is rename this LD, and I'll just call it something like Trance Lead 1 will do for now. So it's important to remember that if you click on any other banks now, this is going to get cleared because we've not saved it. So what we need to do is to go File, Save Factory Bank, and then you can call it whatever you like. I think I'll just stick with my Activ8 bank for now, and then we can see that this has been added to the list. So now if we click off, we can go back onto it and our settings have been saved. Okay. So just bear in mind that whenever you do make changes, you need to save this, because if I change this to something and then I click off and click back on, that's going to be gone. So every time before you click off or close the program, you're going to want to save this bank, Okay. So another cool feature now, instead of starting again from scratch when we make the second sound, we can go to File, Copy Preset, and Paste. So now we've got another copy of that sound. So I could rename this Translate 2. And now is a good time to show you some of these other waveforms that we've got. So I'm going to turn the volume off on oscillator 2 for now and pan this back to the middle. If you hold Control and then you click, it will reset a knob to its default values, so that can be quick to get it back to the original form. And then if we right click on the waveform over here, we've got a big long list of different waveforms. I think it's 250. So we've got our standard waves like the sine, saw, square, etc., like you would see on the other VSTs. And then we've also got loads and loads of unique waveforms here taken from real instruments. Like vocals, strings, pianos. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a vocal. We can also flick through these by just left click and dragging. And we can change the octave if we want it to be a bit brighter or a bit deeper. Change the detune. Okay, and then I think I'll turn the volume back on for the saw and adjust the pan again. And we can adjust the volume knobs until we get a nice mix. We could go ahead and pick a different sound for this one as well. You can also just flick through with the left click, so you don't have to see exactly what wave you get, and you can just flick through and see what sounds good. Okay, we can go into the effects, and we've got loads of different effects like chorus, phaser, shaper and things like that. The trick to making your sound nice and loud is to turn the shaper on just a little bit. And then it's this drive that will make the sound nice and loud. We've also got distortion and sample rate over here, so there's loads of different things we can do to tweak the sound. So I'll show you the sample rate. We've also got low pass and high pass filters on the drive. So the drive is a bit like a distortion, and with these low pass and high pass filters you can decide which part of the sound gets the effect added on. So if you don't want the lows or the highs to get distorted, you can use these two filters to narrow down like the frequency range. So if I put this on full wet, we're only going to hear the distorted sound, so that will help us to hear what's going on. So when it's on totally dry, then you're just getting the normal sound without any effect. And when it's on wet, you're just getting only the effect with none of the original sound. So if you put it exactly in the middle, then you're going to get both. Okay, so I'm going to go and put the chorus on as well, because that gives you a nice wide sound. And we've got different settings for this, like the rate. If you turn that up a bit, you can get more of a wobbly, like a wobbly vibrato kind of sound. So you can see that's made quite a big difference there. We can turn the cut-off down to see what it would be like as a pluck. Okay, so I'm going to turn that back up. What you can do as well is you can copy your preset and you can have the lead version, and then you could paste it and have the pluck version. Maybe make a few changes if you wanted. You could make it a bit more detuned. Okay. So I can save this as transpluck. Okay. Something that we've not covered yet is the EQ over here. So this is good for making quick adjustments to brighten up your sound or boost the bass or take a little bit away from some of the frequencies. Okay, and then we can adjust the main volume over here, and again you can just control and click to reset that back to default. And we've got a stereo control up here which can make it a little bit wider if you put it up full. And we've got noise if you want to add a little bit of white noise, or we've got also pink and brown noise over here. You can't hear that so much because we've got the cut-off down, and the filter is also affecting the noise there. So if I turn it back up, okay, so that's saved as transpluck. I'm going to go on and start a whole new sound now. Okay. So first off, I'm going to go and add the delay and the reverb straight away. Okay, and then I want to show you the LFOs. So if I go down and I choose pitch 1, this is not going to do anything at all until I turn up the amount here. So we can hear that's making the pitch go up and down. I can turn the rate up here. And we've got the gain control. And if you drag on the waveform, we've also got a fade in control. So that will make the effect fade in slowly instead of coming straight in. Okay, up the top we've got the amp envelope, which we've not touched on yet. So the attack is going to give you like a fade in at the start of your sound. And release is going to give you like a slow release at the end. So once you let go of a key or the MIDI note stops, it's going to take a little while to fade out. Okay, I'll turn sustain all the way off, and then I can show you what decay and sustain do. I'll turn release down as well. So decay is how long it takes to get from full volume to sustain. So with this really short, it's just the volume's gonna go up and then quickly ramp back down. So attack, decay and release are all time based, and then sustain is the level of volume. So after it's finished with the attack phase and finished with the decay phase, this sustain is what the volume's going to be when it's finished with these two. And then that volume is where it'll stay at until you let go of the note, and then it'll go down the release phase. So if you hold a note and you haven't got any sustain, it's just going to completely fade out. And then if we have some sustain, then it'll be loud, it'll go down, and then it'll stay at that sustain level. If you have sustain up full, then the decay doesn't really do anything because it just stays at full volume anyway. So you can also make plucks this way. Instead of using the cut off, you can have like a short decay and a low sustain. Okay, so I'm just going to control click to set these back to what they were. So we've also got the modulation envelopes. So I'm going to go down to one of these empty ones. What can I do? So we'll do the pitch, and I'll just take pitch off the LFO for now. Okay. So this will also help me explain the envelopes a bit better, the attack, decay, sustain and release. So if I turn the pitch up a bit, we've got decay. And we've only got decay on, so what it's going to do is the pitch will go up quickly and then it will ramp down for however long the decay is. And if you have a shorter decay, you're going to get a shorter ramp, so it won't take as long for the pitch to go back down to 0. And sustain will set the level that the pitch will stay at after it's finished the decay ramp. So we can see that the decay doesn't do anything when we've got sustain on. And then we've got attack, so just similar to what it did with the volume, this is going to make the pitch fade up to full and then ramp down. And we can control the amount of pitch with this knob here. And this can be quite good for screeches, so if you turn your voices up and you've got it quite detuned, make sure random phase is on full. And we can add a bit of distortion on there to make it a bit grittier. So I'm going to save that. And what else is there? So there's the modulation sources over here. So we could change this to the mod wheel. These are useful if you've got a MIDI keyboard with a mod wheel. So we can see as I move my mod wheel on the keyboard, it's going up and down here. So if I set this to something like pitch, and then I hold a note, I need to turn the amount up. So I could change that to something else maybe. I'll change it to the filter cutoff is a good one. For this to work, we'll need to turn the filter down. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off for now. What we can also do, which is really useful if you're using a MIDI keyboard, you can just right click on any of these knobs, choose MIDI learn, and then if you move the knob on your MIDI keyboard, you've now linked it up. So we could do this with multiple different knobs. If you've got a keyboard that's got different controls, you can also link the sliders. So I could also link this. So this could be quite useful for live performances and things like that, or if you just like to do your automation by hand instead of with automation clips. So you can link these up to as many different things as you like, or you could use various different knobs and link them up to different stuff. So if you want to get rid of these links and you don't want them to be linked anymore, you can right click and do MIDI forget, or you can go to the file menu and reset MIDI learn, and now they're no longer controlled by your keyboard. This one is already linked by default, so that will stay attached. So a few more things left to cover. We'll do the vowel filter first. So the vowel filter is going to give you like a vowel sort of sound, obviously. So I'll turn the level up. I'll turn the volume up, and I think we might be able to hear this better if we're on a lower octave. And I'll turn the resonance up. And then we can play with the cutoff. Alright, I'm going to turn the main filter cutoff up here. So that's giving you quite an interesting effect. We can also modulate this with an LFO or an envelope. So we'll go with an envelope. We'll do vowel cutoff. We can just do the decay for now, I suppose, and turn it up a little bit. Maybe so turn the attack up. And we can adjust the cutoff as well for a slightly different effect. So I'll turn reverb and delay on. I'm going to turn this off for now, and then I can show you what it sounds like on the LFO. So vowel cutoff, turn the amount up. We'll need to turn the cutoff up a little bit here. The vowel filter does take away some of the bass, so you can turn that up a little bit in the equalizer. And there's also the distortion effects, which add a bit more thickness as well. And you've just got to watch out that your volumes aren't getting too high once you start adding EQ and distortion and things like that. So you can remedy that just by turning the volume down a bit over here. Alright, so next up I want to show you some of the other options in the filter. So I'm just going to clear this preset, so we're back to the default saw wave. And if we go over to the drop down where it says low pass fast, we can change to loads of different filter types. In this video I want to show you the low pass 303, so I'm just going to choose 12 dB. And I think I'm going to drop down 2 octaves. And I'm going to turn the cutoff down to about 30, I think, if you look at the readout over here. And then we can turn the resonance up quite a lot. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of distortion, so I'll turn the shaper up. Okay, and now we can really tweak the sound with the modulation envelope down here, and it's already set up to the cutoff, so all we need to do is play around with the decay and attack. And we can change the cutoff and the amount of modulation as well. We can also add delay and reverb. And we can mess with the equalizer if we want to bring out the bass or the mids. You can add more distortion if you want it even grittier. And of course you could use different wave shapes for this, so I'm just using the saw at the moment. Just remember to turn your volume down if it's getting a bit too loud there. Okay, so I'm just going to save that. We'll call that acid. Okay, so all you need to do now is save your bank, save factory bank. Make sure you overwrite the correct one because you don't want to overwrite any of the built-in presets. So it's my Activ8 bank, replace, and then if I click off and click back on, I can see that they're all still there. And it's remembered all the settings. So if you just want to share a single preset or save a single preset to your computer, you can just go to File, Save Preset. And this time this opens up in the presets folder instead of the banks folder. So you can go ahead and save this single preset. And then if you go to any other of your empty preset slots, you can go to File, Load Preset, and again this will open up in the presets folder, so you can go and get your saved sound and open it up. And I've got a few others in this folder, so I'll just show you that I can load these in. Okay, so I think that's it for this video. If there's anything else you'd like to know, just tell me in the comments and I'll see what I can do. I'll also be doing some more specific sound design tutorials for this, and there will be some more updates coming soon with new features, and we'll be fixing any bugs if any get spotted. So thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you enjoy playing around with the VST as much as we've enjoyed creating it.